How often should you water cucumbers? It turns out that watering cucumbers depends on several factors, such as soil type, weather conditions, and the plant's growth stage. During germination and early growth, cucumbers need consistently moist soil. Water regularly to keep the soil damp but not soggy. During flowering and fruiting, the plants require more water. Water them deeply but avoid overwatering. Depending on the weather, watering every 2 to 3 days may be enough. Deep watering is key. Since cucumbers have a deep root system, it's better to water thoroughly and less frequently than often and shallowly. Avoid getting the leaves wet to prevent fungal diseases. Water directly onto the soil around the plant. Mulching cucumbers can also help. It retains soil moisture and reduces how often you need to water. To check soil moisture, test it about 1 inch deep. If it feels dry, it's time to water. Always adjust based on the weather. Hot, dry days require more water than cool, damp ones.
I water the cucumbers with one addition. The yields are gigantic. I gather them in full buckets. This fertilizer has been in my family for generations. Every year we have so many cucumbers that we have to give them away to the neighbors. Growing cucumbers can be childishly simple, despite being a plant with high soil requirements. Soils for cucumber cultivation should have a good structure, be rich in organic matter and humus. Proper nutrition for the plant is also important. Unfortunately, cucumbers often fall victim to fungal diseases. To reduce the use of pesticides, it's worth resorting to natural protection methods, among which yeast spray is often recommended. Preparing it is very simple. Crush half a cube of fresh yeast into a bowl. They contain primarily B group vitamins, carbohydrates, organic iron, amino acids, and trace elements. Next, add a glass of sugar. Mix everything thoroughly and pour warm water over it. Leave it for a while for the yeast to start working. The glucose contained in the sugar will help the cucumbers produce new flowers. Dissolve the yeast mixture in 5 liters of water. Leave it to ferment for a week before using it for fertilizing. It is more effective then. If you don't have time, you can use the undiluted yeast mixture an hour after dissolving the yeast. Water the cucumbers planted in the ground with this mixture. The yeast solution perfectly affects the growth of cucumbers. It supplies the seedlings with B group vitamins, iron, amino acids, and various trace elements. This is enough to stimulate and strengthen the roots and accelerate plant growth. Yeast has one more advantage. When you water the plants with them, they enter into symbiosis with the roots. Then, other harmful fungi and various disease-causing microorganisms have limited access to the roots. So, yeast protects the roots from various diseases and infections. They act protectively. Moreover, you can use them in 2 ways. The first one involves preparing a watering solution, and the second one is the spray. The spray remains on the plant leaves, eliminating unnecessary microorganisms and fungal diseases. Just use the spray at least once a month to double the yields. I have been using this recipe for years, and every year I gather a gigantic amount of cucumbers.
The secret powder that will accelerate the growth of your seedlings and repel insects. It's completely natural and used by every experienced gardener. You won't find this in a garden store. After using it, plants have thick stems and leaves. They're much more resistant to diseases and changing weather conditions. Even the weakest, most fragile seedlings start growing like crazy. Anyone who has tried growing plants from seedlings knows it's not that simple. To grow well, seedlings need more than just water and light. I know a method that works wonders. The solution is literally in your kitchen, an ingredient that almost no one talks about but has amazing properties. It acts as an antioxidant for plants. It stimulates growth, strengthens the root system, and repels pests, especially aphids. This secret powder is the peel of one of the citrus fruits. Peel a few oranges, then dry the peels thoroughly. Once they're hard, Grind them into a fine powder in a blender. This natural homemade powder is the best growth stimulant. Just 1 tablespoon is enough, but that's not all. In a separate container, add 5 tablespoons of citrus powder and pour in 1 liter of warm water. Let it sit for half an hour, then strain it. Use this spray twice a week. Your plants will grow faster, healthier, and more luxuriant. Even frail seedlings will become strong and healthy. I'll show you how to stimulate pepper seeds to germinate within a few hours. Sprouts will appear as soon as the next day. This is the fastest method for germinating seeds. You'll need pepper seeds, cosmetic pads, and boiling water. I'll take the seeds from a fresh pepper I bought this morning. Look at these little seeds. Each has a tiny tip. That's where the root emerges when the seed germinates. The seeds need time for this area to soften and release the root under the influence of moisture. So take scissors and cut off this part, but just the tip. Do the same with the remaining seeds. Look again. Cut only the protruding tip. Don't cut too much to avoid damaging the seed. Place the seeds on a cosmetic pad. This alone will speed up germination. On the second pad, I'll leave the seeds with intact tips. Now prepare 2 bowls. Pour hot water into one and cold water into the other. Fold the pad with the seeds and grasp it with tweezers. Now, the most important part. Dip the cotton pad with the seeds into hot water for 3 seconds, then into cold water for 5 seconds. And again, dip it into hot water for 3 seconds and into cold water for 5. Repeat this process 5 times. This naturally stimulates the seeds to germinate. In spring, the soil warms up during the day and cools down at night. By soaking the seeds alternately in hot and cold water, you trick them a bit and accelerate their growth. I'll do the same with the pad containing intact seeds. Place the soaked seeds in a cup. Pour a little water to moisten the cosmetic pads with seeds. Cover them with another pad. Cover with plastic wrap. Place it on the windowsill if the sun is shining. You'll be surprised by the result the next day. On top, I have the pad with the seeds I didn't cut. And at the bottom of the cup are the seeds with the trim tips. See how they look after one day? They've sprouted. Seeds have never germinated this quickly before. Trimming the tips and using boiling water made the seeds start germinating within 24 hours. On the second pad, the seeds haven't sprouted yet. These are the ones I didn't touch with scissors. So try the method with scissors and boiling water as soon as possible. Nothing pleases an amateur gardener as much as quickly germinating seeds.